Put on your best clothes, put on your fanciest shoes because Pac 9 is going dancing. We'll talk all that and a lawsuit on today's episode of Locked On Wolfpack.
You are Locked On Wolfpack, your daily podcast on the NC State Wolfpack, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
You see what I did there, folks? Because you got to put on your best clothes to go to court, and you got to put on your best to go dance. You see how I did that? Anyway, Grayson, there was some sitting and hoping and wondering and wishing. We thought the RPI would be good enough, but we thought it'd be good enough in the past. There was some nervousness. I don't have many nails left. I don't have many nails left after the selection. What was it? Sunday and Monday? Was it
Monday? Selection Monday for
Selection
baseball.
Monday. Selection Monday. I don't have any nails left after Selection Monday because I was waiting. I was waiting to hit a red and white get called, but we did get called. And we are a 3 seed that is sticking close by home in the Columbia, South Carolina, what regional, right?
Regional.
Yes, the Columbia, South Carolina regional with the University of South Carolina being the host. Grayson, give me your initial thoughts.
So you mentioned the RPI happened to just be enough. I still contend that our overall body of work this season is really not a whole lot there. I didn't, to be honest with you, I really don't know how much our performance in the ACC tournament was really weighed into it either. But if it was weighed, I'd say that last victory there against Duke and playing Miami very closely in that second pool play game, it may have worked to our favor. But all in all, we are dancing. We are back in the NCAA tournament. We were definitely kind of sitting on pins and needles with the fear of potentially missing it for the second straight year. Something that's, I think it's only happened under Elliott Avent maybe one other time. And I want to say that was like 2003, 2004. It's unheard of, essentially, under Avent's tenure here. In his 27th year now, making this tournament this year, he has made it to the postseason in 20 of 27 seasons, which is impressive. It is impressive. So, of course, all the, I guess you can call them boo birds, are looking for a little hardware to go with that. And I understand that part. But, it's not easy to make it to 20 postseasons, and not just college baseball, but in the ACC, because the ACC year in and year out is a gauntlet. And so, this is another, I guess you can call it another notch in Elliott Avent's resume, which he has been accumulating here for nearly 3 decades. But it feels good to be back in the NCAA tournament. As painful as it was to get snubbed last year, we're back in it this year. And like we've mentioned on here before, once you get in, anything can happen from there. College baseball, the NCAA tournament college baseball is complete chaos. We talk about March Madness. A lot of people kind of plug for the NHL playoffs because they're very unpredictable. College baseball's tournament is a madhouse. And so if you're just kind of tuning into NC State baseball this year, I encourage you to also look around at all the other regionals because it is complete chaos. And it is part of what makes the sport so great.
Absolutely. And when you talk about what makes the sport so great, you also have to talk about great facilities. And South Carolina, University of South Carolina has what is described as one of, if not the most beautiful baseball field in all of college sports. How do you think that helps, hurts, or doesn't really matter to the Wolfpack? What do you think in that regard?
Well, just geographically, it's enticing for Wolfpack fans, of course, because it's not that far of a trip. I do expect NC State fans to show up where they can. I understand 1 p.m. on a Friday makes it tough for a lot of folks to attend, but I still think you're going to see a pretty large contingent of NC State fans down in Columbia. But yeah, as you mentioned, South Carolina has a beautiful baseball facility. They have for quite some time now, most of which coming from their successes in the early 2010s, winning back-to-back NCAA tournaments back when they had guys like Whit Merrifield and Jackie Bradley Jr. They also used to have Ray Tanner, who was a mentor to Elliott Avent. I know Avent's made some comments and how it's going to be cool to reconnect with him down there in Columbia this weekend. So kind of some NC State ties to the South Carolina program. But, it's certainly interesting. The other, I guess, elephant in the room here is that Campbell is in this regional. They got big time snubbed. They should absolutely be one of the 16 hosts this year. I thought, their resume, I think it speaks for itself. They've beaten several quality teams. Much like last year, they're just a really freaking good baseball team. They
Right.
pitch well. Their offense is one of, if not the top offense in the country. And so NC State, we've been placed into a very interesting regional. There's a lot of storylines here. I know South Carolina at one point, they were like the hottest team in the country. I believe it was like late March, early April. They're kind of limping into the postseason. They've lost, I want to say it's like maybe 4 or 5 of the last 5 series in the SEC to close out their season. So they kind of backed into the playoffs. So that's something to, I guess, keep in mind. But, with all due respect to Central Connecticut State, I mean, they're here for a reason. They won their conference. But the 3 teams of note here are South Carolina, Campbell, and, of course, NC State. So it's going to be a very interesting weekend. This next segment, we're going to kind of break down what to look for. But, all in all, I'm just happy to be back in the dance. I'm just happy to be, to have a shot at making it back to Omaha. Of course, anything can happen. And it's going to be fun to see NC State playing these meaningful games again in June.
Absolutely. And one thing that I find interesting about this is normally Campbell is a team that we have a midweek with.
Yeah.
Normally pretty much every year. This is one of the rare years where we did not have a midweek with Campbell. It didn't happen for whatever reason this year. And the baseball gods said, death, taxes, NC State, Campbell on that diamond. It's going to happen one way or the other. And here we are, one way or the other, it happening again. Any thoughts there?
Yeah, it's interesting because typically we do see Campbell almost every year. We did not see them this year. I think it probably would have been interesting to see them because a lot of people were kind of complaining about our out-of-conference schedule. I think it would have been nice to see them at some point during the midweeks. How that would have gone, maybe another story because they are very good and we had a lot of struggles here, I guess, up until this point of the season because Elliott Avent kind of thinks we're playing, our best brand of baseball now, which I think he's on to something there. But yeah, we typically do see Campbell. I know the last couple times that we have seen Campbell, they've beaten us. I believe they beat us last year in 2022. 2021's escaping me, but I do remember that they beat us in the Greenville Regional out at ECU. I believe that was I want to say it was the 2018 regional, 2019 regional is one of those two.
Mm-hmm.
We're in a regional at ECU and Campbell beat us there. So of recent, Campbell has had our number. And so that's another interesting storyline to go into Friday. Campbell, they play with this chip on their shoulder. And of course the chip is now larger because I think they did get snubbed out of a hosting position here. So they're coming into this game pissed off. They're going to want to prove it to the committee, to the rest of the country that they are here. And, they're no slouch. I believe they got their first number 2 seed ever in program history. Very well deserved while they should have been a 1, but they're a great team. And it's going to be a very fun game. At least I'm hoping on Friday.
Well, I'm going to tell you what, these narratives, these storylines, all the things that are going on around it, this is what makes this time of the year special. This is what makes postseason play special. And this is how special games, special moments, the stuff that creates legends, this is all what that buildup looks like. This is how those things are built. And speaking of built, let me talk to you about Built Bar. If you're looking for a delicious snack, but don't want all of those sugar and calories that come in the normal one, then you need to get the best tasting protein bar ever built. You got to try it. If you're like me, and you want to make healthier snack choices, but you don't want to compromise on taste, I've got just the thing for you. Built Bars and Built Puffs. Built Bars are healthy and they taste amazing. They taste so good, you won't know that they're good for you as well. And what makes Built Bar so good? They're covered in 100% real dark chocolate. That's right, real chocolate. Folks, it doesn't matter if you like churro or peanut butter brownie, cookies and cream, double chocolate. They've got it all. You can either go into stores today, to a Walmart to get a 4-box or a Sam's Club to get a 13-box, or go online to get the particular flavor that works out best for you. But either way you cut it or slice it, just make sure that you're going to get some Built Bar. So we're back. And I need to talk to you, Grayson, about what are our chances of making it out? What are our chances? What do you look at and say, if somebody had, in the words of Max Kellerman, the Martians got the death beam pointed at Earth, what are the chances that we make it out? What would you say?
I mean, I don't want to discount South Carolina here in their own regional. I think the winner of this NC State Campbell game on Friday, that whoever wins this game is going to be whoever makes it out of the Columbia Regional, I think. Mm-hmm. And so, yeah, I mean, we're going to have to go through Campbell if we want to make it out of this regional. Campbell, as I mentioned in the first segment, they are legit. They are in this position for a reason. They are very, very good. They play small ball well. They hit the ball all over the yard. They have some very strong starting pitching. It's a lot to handle in, I guess, they are a mid-major, but they play above their rank. They play like a P5 school, and they have been playing that way for quite some time now. I think back, when I was doing my Pac-9 preview for this season, I mentioned that Campbell went into the Knoxville Regional last year when Tennessee was number 1 in the country, and they almost made it out of the Knoxville Regional alive. That is how good Campbell is. And more of the same this year. I saw some tweets that I actually ended up responding to as well, that we're likely going to see their ace pitcher on Friday. His name is Cade Cooler. He has a record of 8-0 with a 2.82 ERA. Now, I made some kind of, snide comments that he made 12 starts. 4 of those starts came against teams with winning records because their conference is a little wishy-washy, you could say. And he only faced one team that is in the the NCAA tournament, and that is the Raging Cajuns of Louisiana. So, listen, at the same time here,
you're saying that they ace ain't acing the way that he's supposed to ace is what you're saying. You're saying that there's some doubt there. There's some doubt as to whether or not he can shut the door on bats that are going to be active and guys who may go to the show one day. Is that what I'm hearing?
I'll put it to you like this. Campbell fans are very active on social media, so I'm sure they're going to come for me regardless here. Cade Cooler is a very good pitcher. He is their best pitcher. That is no coincidence. He's going to be making MLB money. He's awesome. He's a great pitcher. My point here is he has not seen an offense like NC State, not one single time this whole season. Now, it's not to discredit the Big South Conference. It's, he's not good because he's in that conference. He's good because he's good. All I'm saying is he has not seen a team like this all year. He has not seen a Geno Groover. He has not seen a Cannon Peebles. He's not seen a Jacob Cozart. And, he very well could come out and mow us down. Of course, none of us hope that happens. I like our chances against Cade Cooler on Friday. I think
say it with your chest, Grayson. Say it with your chest. Put some bass in your voice when you say it. You like our chances against this young man.
We're going to beat Cade Cooler on Friday. NC State's going to beat Campbell on Friday. We're going to beat their best pitcher, and we're going to advance to play, presumably, South Carolina on Saturday. But it's going to be a great game, and I'm looking forward to it.
That's what I'm here for. That right there is what I'm here for. Let the Campbells come for us. Let this be on cold takes, freezing takes exposed if you're wrong here. But I love it. I love the energy behind our guys saying, hey, we're going to put Cooler in the freezer. That's what's going to happen on Friday. I love that. I absolutely love it. You ain't going to see a Cooler get packed up like this since the last time you watched the original Dragon Ball Z, is what this young man is saying. By the way, if you got that reference, shout out to you. But now, with that being said, going beyond this game, going beyond this regional, what do you think our chances are in terms of the ability to potentially make it to Omaha?
So I've seen a little bit of buzz from, these national writers for whether it's D1 or Baseball America. They're kind of giving us that comparison to last year's Ole Miss team. We mentioned on here several times, Ole Miss was the team that virtually took our last spot in the tournament And then they went on to win the whole freaking thing last year. We're getting comparisons to that team. I'm not saying that we are 2023 Ole Miss, but I think we have a lot of experience. Like I mentioned in the first segment, Avent thinks that we're playing our best baseball of the season currently. Some people have some opinions on this. I agree. I think you saw this in the ACC tournament. I think Duke is a team that's hot right now. They're playing pretty good baseball, kind of struggled a little bit at the end of the regular season, but Duke, they are as high up in the seeding as they are for a reason. They're a good team. And we made it a little interesting at the end, but we handled business. We took it to them. Miami, I think, what are they, the number 4 seed in the country? They're hosting their own regional. We stuck with them the whole game. Now, we didn't pull that game out, but we were competitive for that whole game. We're playing good baseball right now. Our offense, I understand we didn't get it done in the Miami game, but Miami, the reason for that is because Miami's a good team. Surprise, surprise. They're a good team. Our offense has the capability to win this regional in Columbia. They do. And wherever we end up after that remains to be seen. Now, you know what they say about assuming things, but I would assume whoever makes it out of this Columbia regional is going to have to take a trip down to Gainesville to see the Florida Gators. And that is a whole nother monster once you get to that point. But if NC State can knock off Campbell on Friday, and I think they will, I would then like their chances to win the Columbia regional. Of course, again, you can't count out South Carolina, especially not when they're home in Founders Park. But if we can find a way to, I think, unfortunately, we're just going to have to outscore everyone. Our pitching has been kind of a shaky pillar for much of this season. It'd be great if they all show up here now that the postseason is here. But I think we're simply just going to have more firepower than these other teams. And if you win that way, hey, you win that way. It's every game is a new game, and you got to do whatever it takes to advance now. But, you know, these guys like Matt Willardson had his best season of his career so far. If he can continue this for just a couple more weekends, we can find ourselves in Omaha. If Logan Whitaker can tune into his Duke relief performance, we could find ourselves in Omaha. If Sam Highfill can channel 2021 Omaha Sam Highfill, we could find ourselves in Omaha. I guess there's a whole lot more variables here, but we have the talent to win this Columbia Regional, and we have the talent to make it back to Omaha.
I'll tell you what, I like our chances now, and I hope that our young guy, Mr. Rom-Com Dom, keeps that immaturity where he doesn't even know what's going on. He just knows I go out there and I shut the door. That would be a beautiful thing to see. But we're going to go from one well-dressed event to another, because we're going to go from our dancing shoes to the courtroom. Now we're going to go to the courtroom here because the Holiday Bowl is suing both the Pac-12 and UCLA for 2021 and all the things that did and did not occur there. And there was a scathing report pulled up from I believe it was Athlon Sports here. Let's get that up on screen. We've got
the Action Network.
The Action Network. Apologies. The Action Network. Brett McMurphy was the one who wrote this, and there were many parts of this thing that were downright nasty. I tweeted about it, and I want to read certain parts of this thing so that everybody is kind of on the same page here in terms of what is happening with this lawsuit and what's going on in terms of UCLA and the bowl game and what the problems are. Okay. So this article was published 3 hours before we published this. It was written by Brett McMurphy, who, you know, we've heard about him and we've talked about him plenty of times on this show. The Holiday Bowl filed suit in Superior Court in the county of San Diego Tuesday, claiming the nonprofit San Diego Bowl Game Association lost more than $3 million from cancellation of the 2021 game. And this wiped out the 43-year-old Bowl Association's reserves. Now, I'm not going to read you the entire article, but I'm just going to read you parts that I think are extremely pertinent given what we originally heard about, hey, this is what's going on and this is how this went down. We talked about for a very long time that there were all of these players who, had tested positive or whatever the case may be. And yet, when we go look at what this article says, we were told that they didn't have enough D linemen to play this football game. And yet the Holiday Bowl officials said, and this is straight out of the article, Holiday Bowl officials said UCLA told them they only had 3 players test positive. Only had 3 players test positive. And Grayson's got it here up on the screen for you. And this is, I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. And this is the part that blew me. This was the piece that took the cake. This is after the game was canceled. UCLA reached out to the Holiday Bowl and asked if they could still receive their bowl gifts.
That's nasty.
That is disgusting work. That is the the gall, the audacity, the sheer audacity of this thing is it's hard to find words to express how wild that is. It's really hard to find the words. Grayson, what are your thoughts after seeing this?
Okay, first of all, to quote LeBron James here, it's about damn time. UCLA deserves repercussions for this fraudulent act that took place in the 2021 Holiday Bowl. As you might see here, we are still upset about it. I think rightfully so. This robbed us of our chance to finish with a 10-win season, which has been such a coveted, landmark for NC State football for quite some time now. Didn't get a chance to get there. Of course, a lot of us kind of consider that a forfeited win, but I wanted to get it done on the field, much like everyone else here. I guess from a more sentimental standpoint, back at the time, I really felt for the players' families, the fans that traveled all the way across the country to San Diego. Many of these people had to miss the holiday season, aka Christmas, with their families to be here for this bowl. And then hours before kickoff, there's miscommunication everywhere. NC State has no idea what's going on other than just preparing for the game. And then all of a sudden they're hearing that UCLA has left the stadium. They've been gone for quite some time with no intention to play this game. And it's wild that now here, I guess a year and a half later, we're getting the receipts from the Holiday Bowl committee saying they're telling us they had 3 positive tests. They're telling the LA Times that they had a full-blown outbreak on the team.
Yeah.
Somebody's lying, and I think I know who it is now. I think we've known who it was for all this time. But, I think this is long overdue for the Holiday Bowl to step up and call UCLA out publicly for this, because I think they deserve to be publicly outed for this. But, it's just to see this come up now, it kind of, it rehashes these raw feelings of I hate them for this. It just rubs us all the wrong way that they stole the opportunity from us to play that 10th, to get that 10th win. That would have been excellent. A look behind the curtain, you would see that we were probably going to whoop them. I know Brett McMurphy said that on our Friday episode. We were going to win that game. And that's not red tinted glasses. Well, it's a little bit of red tinted glasses, but we were the better football team. We were going to go out and we were going to prove it to them. And it's just a shame that we are not afforded that opportunity. So, wrapping it up here, it's long overdue. I'm glad the Holiday Bowl is stepping up and doing this, and I hope they get every single penny that they're asking for.
The thing that I find so interesting about this is, Coach Dorn said that he felt lied to because UCLA didn't tell anybody what was going on their side. And it appears that even Dorn was wrong because there was nothing going on. There was nothing of severity going on over there. 3 players. I'm hearing, hey, they didn't have enough scholarship defensive linemen to even play the game. Well, every NCAA team fields about 10. That's 8 to 10, somewhere in that area is what you're looking at. If you subtract 3 from 8 to 10, let's be aggressive here and say you've only got 8. You subtract 3 from that, you've got 5, which means you've got a 4 starting down lineman. If you run a 4-man front, that means you got 4 and a backup. And that's not including walk-ons. And that's not including the fact that at the college level, let's just be honest with ourselves, you can walk down some linebackers and say, hey, defensive tackles, y'all either going to have to play a lot of snaps, or defensive ends, we're going to have to move some of y'all down to defensive end. However this goes, we're going to have to figure this out because, I mean, we've got to find a way to play this ball game. LSU played a bowl game with 39 scholarship guys. 39. And we're sitting here talking about 3 scholarship players being the reason that they couldn't play this game. Well, you know, as the Saints would like to say, he may not come when you want him, but he'll be there right on time. And looks like the Bruins are getting their comeuppance right on time. We'll wrap it up after a quick word from our sponsors. So all in all, we're going dancing. We're in the tournament. We're close by. I'm not saying that, you know, everybody's going to make the trip to Columbia and everybody needs to, but we're close by now. We're close by, you know. Yes, you got to travel to the least good Carolina, but that's all right. That's all right. It's right below you. You know, you can go ahead and get in where you fit in. And you'll get to see an absolutely beautiful facility if you do decide to head down there. And Grayson likes our chances. Grayson likes our chances here. I like our chances here. I'm going to love to see what happens. And UCLA is about to get put in the pack. The Pac-12 may get put in the pack as well here because they messed around and they're about to find out. Any last words from you, Grayson?
Yeah, I mean, like I mentioned, the Holiday Bowl, I hope they take them for all they're worth because that was some fraudulent, nasty work by the UCLA Bruins. So good on the Holiday Bowl for stepping up.
Absolutely. Fraudulent and nasty work is crazy, by the way. That's absolutely disgusting. You need better for yourself. Anywho, thank y'all so very much for coming out. Folks, like, subscribe, hit that follow button. Tell us what you're thinking. Tell us what you're thinking. Let me ask you this, because this is going to be our poll, by the way, for Wolfpack Nation. Do you like our chances to make it out of the South Carolina regional? We're going to ask that in today's poll. And folks, for the month of June, we'll be dropping 3 episodes a week. But trust me, we will still be giving you high quality Wolfpack content as much as we can. Like I said, like, comment, subscribe. Thank y'all so very much for coming out. Y'all make this show what it is. Peace and love, y'all. And as always, go Pack.
Go Pack.